All right, so let's get this thing into Substance Painter. So we're going to do 6 steps here. First is we're going to name all the parts. Second, we're going to make materials, name them. Third, we're going to group the high and the low. 4, we're going to smooth the high. 5, we're going to export it. 6, we're going to bring it into Substance Painter. I'm not really going to go over too much about the low versus high thing. Um, it's essentially that you can use a higher polygon object. So take your subdiv surface and use a destructive smooth on it. And you can have substance use that as its reference to how the textures are going to be put on a lower polygon model. So this is frequently done so that you don't have crazy gigantic objects. It can also put some nice extra detail, like some normal map detail on a lower polygon object. So before we do anything, let's delete our history. And so everything's set there. And let's make sure all the center points are in the center of each object. There we go. And we have everything named. Push button, bottom piece, tab 1, tab 2, washer, nut, thread. So very appropriate names. And now let's start making some materials. Oh, one thing. I forgot to UV this one spot. So I'm going to go into face. That spot there, and go into our UV editor and normal based, and select this edge. Nope, this edge. Cut it. UV shell. Unfold. I said unfold. There we go. Straight UVs. Smaller. All right, we have that. Just make sure that it fits in. Nothing's overlapping. You can see that this guy's overlapping here. So we'll put it right here. And I think that the textile density is going to be fine. I think this is the... No. Oh, it's over there. Yeah, let's move it down here. Just for the hell of it. We could freak out and do something else, but we're fine. All right, and let's save that. All right, now let's make some materials. Just basic ones. We just do, this is going to be our Lambert for our push button. The red one. Doesn't matter what colors we use here, really. They're going to be assigned later, but just for the hell of it, I'm going to give colors to it. So top, add assign material, and materials, Lambert. And this is going to be our threads. And this is going to be the nut. This will be the washer. This is going to be the bottom piece, which is black plastic. And these guys are the tabs. Do not put a thong on the prongs. I'll be here all week. All right, so we have our thing all nicely set up with materials. And let's make sure that everything is not in our high version. Okay, we take this, we group it, we call this low, push button low. We'll duplicate this, we'll call this push button high. And then we're going to add smoothing on this. It's very strange. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. It was very odd that it decided that everything was going to be two. Okay. There. Okay. That's making me crazy. All right. Okay. So let's set this up. So we're going to take these guys and let's delete the history on that so that they're all set. And we're going to export out our high. And then we're going to select these guys. Wait, make sure I exported it to the right one. Export selection. Come on, just show me the whole thing. There we go. Export selection. FBX, by the way. Turning off history, making sure smoothing groups is there. And this is our low. All right, we're all set. Now it's time to bring that in to Substance Painter. I'll pause it for a sec. And here we are. So this is the Steam version of Substance Painter. So pretty handy. That way you can keep it. And it's 2024, so it's pretty new. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at a regular window here where everything is going to be texture, settings, etc., layers. So let's bring it all in first, then it'll make a little bit more sense. The template, we're just going to go with the basic ASM, PBR, metallic roughness, etc. So this is how you import something. You might think it's like import, but no, it's actually file. So File, we select it, and we're going to select our low version. Document resolution is going to be anything. Let's go for just crazy high just for now, just because we're nuts. And then we want to make sure that we use the UV tile workflow. We do not want Substance Painter to create its own UVs because we already created them. No cameras, etc. Don't need to worry about that. Don't have any already any normal maps to bring in. So that's there. And here it is. So here is our object. So one of the nice things about Substance Painter is that it uses the same navigation that Maya does. So just exact same thing. We can see all the different kinds of materials here. We can hit B, it'll cycle through them. However, you'll notice that it's pretty sparse right now, and hit M to go to the regular material because we have to bake everything first. So what baking will do is it will set up all the textures. It will also set up your ambient occlusion texture, so that's very nice. And what we're looking at, like I was saying before, I moved my texture set list over here onto the left because the 3 over here is a little much. So we can turn on different parts of it. And you'll notice that the prongs are, they were 2 separate objects, however, with 1 single memory. No, 2 separate objects, but because they have the same material, they appear to be together in this group. So that's why when I turn them on and off, it's turning off both, and the push button, etc. So a couple little key things. F1 will show you the split window. It's supposed to be split. There we go. So it's a split window, and we can see the texture on the right side, and we can see the object over here. Now, the reason we're only seeing very limited textures on the right side is because we only have black plastic selected. So if I select more of these guys, then you can see more of these guys are selected there. So we could ultimately have put each one of our materials on its own separate layer, and we wouldn't be wasting all of this real estate. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to bake stuff in. And over here also we have our layers. This is where we're going to layer stuff on top of itself. We're not really going to do any painting, but this is where you do a lot of changes to all of these different layers. So the baking is this croissant over there, so very appropriate. And you click on that, and we see our object over here and a bunch of information over here. So we're going to have a normal map, world space normal map, ID map, ambient occlusion, curvature, position, and thickness. So output size, let's put it at 2048. And then we're going to not use that, but we're going to find a high definition map. So we're going to put high over there. And now you can see that there's a cage here. So it's determining the high poly is going to be essentially projected onto the low poly. Let's see, anti-aliasing we'll do 4 times over there. Now, once we get that set, we're going to then go into our to each one of these guys. There's no extra parameters over here for normal. World space ID, this is one thing we want to change. We want to change it to mesh ID polygroup, and instead of hue shift, let's just do random. It's going to just choose random colors. That's why I said it wasn't necessary for us to choose colors. Ambient occlusion, there's important thing here that I have to change, self occlusion. Because we have this little nut over here in the washer, if we were to do ambient occlusion in this default manner, when we take the nut off and the washer off, there's going to be a shadow, like a phantom shadow. So by changing it to only same mesh name, that won't occur, and it'll create the ambient occlusion map just for each individual piece. Curvature, all good position, etc., etc. All right, so now we click over here and bake selected textures. So it goes through its thing and thinks about stuff. Look at it go. All right, so it is done. Let's go return to painting mode. And now everything is painted. So we can cycle through these guys. Here's our curvature. You can see things have changed. Position. Position is, I want to make sure I have good definitions here for you guys. The position of the model, kind of up to down. So up and down. This could be used for certain special generators inside of Substance Painter. We have thickness, and I think that's the thickness of the I'm not too sure about that. Thickness of the object. It's not used in, we're not going to be using it, I don't think. Height, we're not going to be using that. And bent normal is not going to be using that. Opacity, not using that. Here's our normal map. So you can see some things are added to it. And world space normal. This one is the direction of the texture of the model. For instance, is so if you want to have just like rust just on top of the object. And here's your ID. So we have different ID colors for the object. And here's our ambient occlusion. So if we hide something, you can go here and you can turn off all these guys. You'll notice that when I turn off the nut, that there's no phantom shadow. And I turn off the washer, and you can see there's no phantom shadow. All right. And to get back to our regular material view, we press M. So, like I said, what are we looking at? These are the objects over here. These are some tools over here. This one over here is pretty handy, where you can actually assign a material just to single polygons, or to shells. And then we have our library over here. We have text over here. We can add text to something. We have some environments, HDRI. I think that's the acronym. And then we have some textures over here that can be applied. Alphas, brushes, filters, smart masks. And this is very handy for getting some rust on objects and the edges of objects, etc. Smart materials, essentially just like really cool pre-set up materials. So we're not going to use any smart materials in this today. But one of the neat things, and this is what I want a lot of these videos to be, is just giving you the vocabulary so that you know how to go in and look at another tutorial, and you'll know exactly what you're looking at. Incidentally, one of the things I find handy, when you're learning something new with a tutorial, is make a folder. Make a text file, and have a list of all of the tutorials that you went through. That way you can keep track of them. Okay, so let's start. Let us start with a black plastic first. So over here is our layers, and we have fill layers right over here. We have masks, And we have effects, generators, add fill, anchor points. These are very handy things I'm not going to talk about today. And smart materials. And then you can put things into folders and delete stuff. So we'll start off by adding a fill layer. And you can see it has this nice thing around everything. Projection, this is our UV projection, filtering, repeating, tiling. Let's change. And we have base color, height, roughness, metallic, normal. This is where you can plug a lot of stuff in. So I'm going to change the base color of this to black. So changing that right down there. And there we have that. So we can add now we can add a fill layer to this. Oh, no, we can add a mask to it. No, we're going to add a new fill layer. And this is going to be for scratches. So let's find some scratches here. I think, how do we do that? Oh, yeah. I can add a black mask to this. So I right click on it, and a black mask is something that will mask off. Everything is all masked off on this until something is changed in the mask texture. So we're going to go over here to find some textures, and then we can type in here scratch. And that looks like a good one to me. Yeah, so we grab that and we put it right into fill layer 2. So you can see we have a little bit of something going on there. Doesn't really look exactly what we want. So that's why we get to change it. We can change the tiling of it. And we can get a little bit more of a nice look to it. However, it is still really, really shiny. Incidentally, we can change a lot of that shininess through messing with these guys. Roughness is set at 0.3. If we put it down all the way down to 0, you can see that it's completely reflective. That's not the right look we're going for here. All right. So with this one set, clicked right on that fill layer. I'm going to change this to scratches. I'm going to go down to normal. And I'm going to grab these scratches and I'm going to put it right into normal. And so here, you see that we're starting to get some changes. Now if I move the height down, I'm starting to actually get some indentation into the object. So it's a little bit of older plastic. We also want to make sure that our scratches aren't gray, because we have a gray color here for the scratches. So we could put in here a dark black for the scratch color. We could change the base color, maybe something a little bit higher. Now we have some nice scratches. You can also, and I'm gonna, so here's F1 is the texture along with the object, F2 is just the object, F3 is just the texture. So we can also change where the light's coming from. If we hold down, yeah, that's right, Shift and right mouse button, you can see that it's changing where the direction of the light is. That can help quite a lot. All right, so we have the black plastic set up. So we're going to save it. Saving. And we're going to essentially do the same thing for the rest of everything here. Let's go to our threads. You can see we can turn that on and off. Let's turn off the washer and the nut so we can look at it. And we'll create a fill layer. And then let's find metal, but we're going to go to a regular texture. And there's a lot of different ones. There's metal brushed. I don't particularly like that one terribly much, but I'm going to go for metal polished. So you can also, you can just drag it right onto the object. That's another thing you can do. Actually, I have this fill there. I'm going to delete that because I put the metal polished on. And here is our object. So it has scratches already built in. This is unusual. We seem to be having some lag. All right, that's done. So here's our texture, but I don't want that gold, so I'm going to change the color to this. So we'll change, and we can change metal type to a lot of different things. I'll change it to aluminum. And so I changed it to aluminum. We can change the scratch intensity on this one. We can make it very, very shiny. I don't see a need to do that. Change the metal roughness. That looks good enough. So essentially the other guys can be the same thing. So we can bring in the nut over here, and let's select that one. Put in the gold on that. Change it to aluminum. Let's change it to a custom metal and give it a different, slightly different color. And then let's go to the washer. Turn that on. And let's go to our prongs. There we go. And let's go finally to the push button. And with this, we want something that's plastic. We could go for a different kind of plastic. Let's go for this plastic grip over here. Bring that and put that on here. Now you'll notice that when we bring this in, neat texture and all that jazz, but it's not what we want. So let's change the color first. And then we're going to go in here and we're probably going to change the tiling for it. There we are. Then we can bring down the roughness. There. All right. I kind of like how that's looking. Yeah. Looks like a momentary push button switch. All right. And that is essentially the first object that you have done in Substance Painter. So things that you'll look at next, or things that we'll do, is we'll look into some of the smart materials. Oh, there's another thing that we can add. We can also add a little thing to our to the bottom over here, and give some numbers on it, or some text on it. So let's grab this over here, scratches. Looks OCR. And bring this into the fill layer. So let's see, 2A, 250 volts AC, 5A, 120. There we are. Volts AC. I don't know what that means, but it's on some of these guys. I may not actually like doing it this way. I may just drag it in. That's another way of doing it, because it's drawing it all over there and repeating it everywhere. All right. Let's try that again. So we'll go over here, OCR. Oh, no, we're gonna this time put it right onto the whole thing. And so when I drag and drop that text onto the object, I can select what it's going to go to. But I want it to be, nope, I don't want it to be a normal map. I want it to be height. This is going to be a thing that's going to actually change it. So there is what we want it to look like. Okay. Then we're going to change this to 2A, 250 VAC, 5A, 120 VAC, C, no, and C. Whatever that means, like I said, I don't know. And then we want to change the direction. So this is the direction that we want it to go in. It's just written right into the plastic. There we go. All right. Looks good to me. And that's it, really, for this part of it. And the next part of it, we're going to go into we're going to bring it into Unreal. That's one thing that we're going to do. And then I'll show you iRay and all that kind of jazz. So what we do after this, of course, is exporting it. So there are, that's the thing that we'll go over in the next video. And you'll see all the textures that you can export out of here. And there's a lot of textures that come out, but we're not going to be using all these guys. So that's a nice thing to consider. All right, thanks for watching.